In this video, I'm going to give you 5 powerful tools to quieten your mind during meditation. This has got to be the most common issue I hear from students with regards to their practice. So this video is going to outline all the things you need to do to silence that mental chatter. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Ben, and on the channel I share information and knowledge that I've acquired over the last 20 odd years related to meditation and spiritual development. And this is based on the fact that I was introduced to meditation when I was 6 years old. My dad was a meditation teacher, so I was taught by him and then also his teacher. So I've had plenty of experience and I'm now looking to share lots of what I've learned with you guys on videos like this. So hopefully you enjoy the video and let's get into it. So there are 2 main types of mental distractions. You've got the one that most people are familiar with, which is that your mind just wanders from one thought to the next. You're trying to follow the breath, for example, and for all of a sudden you become aware of what you're having for dinner tonight. And then the mind just keeps wandering from one thing to the next and you can't settle it on that particular focal point. The second type of mental distraction is just this background chit chatter that's going on. It's not really disruptive, it's just there kind of breaking the silence, always in the background talking away. And when these 2 things are going on at the same time, when you've got that background chit chatter and also the mind is pinballing from one thought to the next, it makes for a very disruptive meditation practice. So the 5 points that I'm going to go through in this video are going to work to alleviate both of those things. So the first thing that we can do to start to alleviate the mental chatter that goes on in the background is do what we call overlaying. And when we overlay, we use a mantra. So essentially, we start to replace that mental chatter that's going on in the background with our own thoughts. And what we do is we use a Sanskrit mantra and we just repeat that quietly within our mind. And that starts to override and overlay that mental chatter that's going on in the background. So let's say, for example, that your meditation technique at the moment is just following your breathing. And what you can do is you can add a mantra to that. There's a mantra called So-hum, S-O-H-U-M, So-hum. And you can time that with your breathing. So on the inhale, you can say so, and on the exhale, hum. And this is a way of overlaying, so it doesn't give that mental chatter having a chance to actually bubble up to the surface. You essentially override it by repeating a mantra and filling your mind with your own thoughts in a way. But this is a Sanskrit mantra, which is of a much higher vibrational frequency to any other normal words. And so this will help you to expand your level of consciousness. So it's actually aiding the meditation process. It's also giving your mind a stronger focal point to follow. And at the same time, as I said, it's overlaying this mental chatter. So introducing a mantra into your meditation practice is a really, really powerful way of overcoming this problem. Another thing that you can do is just do a mantra on its own. So it doesn't need to be timed in sync with the breathing. It might be that you don't particularly like that mantra, so you can find another one. There's loads on Google, and just simply sit down in your normal meditation position and in your mind with your eyes closed, just start to quietly repeat this mantra, not out loud, just in your mind. And this is, again, it gives your mind a focal point because you are focusing gently on this mantra, but equally you're overlaying the mental commentary, the mental chatter that is sometimes really, really disruptive. So that's 2 ways you can use the mantra. The third way you can use the mantra is bringing it into your daily life. So big part of why we struggle to quieten the mind is because we've only got a short window of time where we can dedicate to meditating. And so, the other 23.5 hours of the day, we're, aside from sleeping, we're using our conscious mind. And often with work and things like that, we're really working hard and giving the mind lots to do. And then we've just given ourselves this tiny window of time in the day to try and quieten all of that. And then it becomes very difficult. So bringing a mantra into your daily life in moments when you're driving, when you're in the shower, when you're doing mundane tasks, you can just be quietly in your mind repeating this mantra. And what that does is it gives your mind a focal point. It takes you out of this constant, incessant thinking, which actually exaggerates the problem that you're trying to alleviate in meditation anyway. So it's kind of a twofold benefit, and it's something that will also allow you to expand your level of consciousness. Meditations are really, really powerful tools, not just for quietening the mind, but for expanding your consciousness. Don't believe the hype that a lot of teachers will tell you need to be given one by a special teacher. That is bullshit. Often that involves paying a lot of money. So don't do that. Just go and find a mantra that suits you. Make sure it's Sanskrit. It's a real mantra, it's not just an affirmation. That will really, really help you quieten the mental chatter that you're struggling with. Okay, so number 2 is your environment. And what I mean by this is having an actual space to do your meditation practice in. If you go to the gym, you'll notice that most people get on much better with exercise if they actually go to a proper place to do the exercise. They put on a gym outfit, shorts, t-shirt, put in some music, go to a gym, and that sets you up. It changes your state of mind just going into that new environment. And I always encourage my students to do the same with meditation. So have a little space. It could just be the corner of a spare room. It might be your living room when no one's in there. Do something to make it a kind of calming Zen environment. So it might just be put an incense stick on, light a candle, put some calming background music on, dim the lights, whatever it is to set the scene. This really makes a huge, huge difference. And like for me, I have a real humble little corner of our spare room where we've got loads of bikes actually in the other side of the room. It's really like not that good of a place, but it's just all I'm working with at the moment in our little flat. But it's perfect for me. I go into my spare room, shut the door. I've got my little meditation corner with pictures of the teachers that I really, really love. This is quite a traditional thing to do in meditation. Candle, incense stick, close the curtains, dim the light, and this sets up a scene. I go into that room and I feel like a different person already. Like my mind is starting to become calmer already. And so I really, really urge you, if you are getting into meditation, or even if you meditate already and you don't do this, set the scene, have a proper place to do it. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, but just make sure it's somewhere new. It's not like your work office, it's not sitting on your desk. It's very hard for your mind to recognize a difference at that point and change over into a different state. So it makes it easier of a process to do that if you can change your environment. Okay, so number 3 is breath work. Now, I always advise people to look at pranayama breathing. This is an alternate nostril method of breathing. There are other types of breathing within pranayama, but the one that I recommend is called Nadi Shodhana. It's alternate nostril breathing. You may have seen it if you're into yoga and things like that. If you know it already, I would highly advise you to use this practice before you get into your meditation. This will really help to calm the nervous system, start to steady and de-excite the mind, and you'll find that when you then start the meditation, you'll be in a much better space already, and it won't take you as long to get into that meditative state of mind. So starting the meditation with nice calming breathing exercises is really, really beneficial. Just 5 minutes or so, it doesn't need to be a long length of time. If you're not familiar with pranayama breathing, then just look on YouTube, look on Google. There are plenty of instructional videos on how to do it properly. Don't do any more than 10 cycles of pranayama, and yeah, use that before you go into the meditation, and you'll find it makes a massive difference in calming the mental chatter, slowing down the mind, all of that good stuff that we need for a good meditation. Okay, so on to number 4. Now this is a 2-part tip really. The first is that I want to talk about acceptance. Acceptance is huge within meditation. There are so many things that happen within the practice or outside of your practice that we can't control. So developing this outlook of acceptance is hugely beneficial. An example of this is that there's been times where I've taught people and they've been like, I can't meditate at this particular time because there's this other thing going on. I remember one instance where I used to teach a guy in the morning and he said, I can't do this session anymore because the kids walk by outside and it really disturbs me. And I said to him, well, you know, we could change this to another time, but whatever time you decide to do the session is going to be disruptive for some reason. Like there's going to be something that's not quite right. There's going to be bin men outside. There's going to be school kids. There's going to be a bird on your gutter tweeting and pissing you off. You know, there's always going to be something. Like you can't avoid everything. And even if you could avoid everything, it's not actually beneficial in the long run, because the idea is that you need to learn to develop acceptance. That's a hugely beneficial state of mind or trait to develop. So avoiding problems, like, yeah, you want to make sure that the washing machine's not on, or like place is as quiet as can be, but there are always going to be some things that are out of your control. And so it's good to learn just to accept them. Learn and understand that there's always going to be some kind of disruption, noise, something that's going to be trying to kind of interfere with the practice to some degree. Learning to accept that is hugely beneficial. So that is part of number 4. But equally, I want to talk about conviction. As people with jobs and families and things like that, it's very hard to totally quieten the mind. But you can quieten the mind. Like if you go onto a retreat of some kind, you will find that your mind is a hell of a lot quieter when you come back from that retreat. And this is why like Buddhist monks and people who have kind of devoted their life to spiritual development, take themselves away from normal life, I really recommend that you go into it with a conviction and understand that, okay, like I may have thoughts, that's normal, but I can quieten my mind. I'm the owner of this body and this mind. I should be the master. I know it sounds a bit weird, but I should be the master of my own mind. And it might be that I know that life is busy and I know that I'm going to have lots of thoughts and lots of things to deal with, but I can still have a big impact on that and quieten it down so that it's not making my life a misery and that my mind is under some control at least. Okay, so on to number 5. When it comes to this one, I think this has got to be the most important number of all of the tips that I've been through, and that is consistency. And I know it's a bit of a basic bitch thing to say, but anything that you do and you want to be good at, you have to be consistent. And we all know this, like when it comes to exercise, when it comes to healthy eating, and when it comes to meditation, you have to be doing it consistently to really reap the reward. And it's something that with meditation, you sort of have to weave it into your life and let it become part of your daily life. Then it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel hard to actually do every day. It's something that you want to do. And I always liken it to brushing your teeth. Like you don't question each day whether you can be bothered to brush your teeth or whether you should brush your teeth. Hopefully you don't. It's just something that you do. It's part of your day. It's a non-negotiable thing. If you can find a way of making meditation like that in your life, you'll find that it just flows much more naturally and there's no resistance then to go and do it, or much less resistance. One thing that I really recommend is that it's really useful to look at your day as if it was like a pie chart and section that pie chart off into all the different things that you do in the day. So sleeping, eating, seeing family, exercise, work, and make sure that there's a period of that pie chart, a portion of that pie chart, that is dedicated to your spiritual work, your spiritual development, your sadhana. Or if you're just doing meditation for just purely the practical benefits, then just put that down, just put meditation. Make sure that in your day you have allocated time to do the practice. Otherwise, time will run away from you and you'll find that it becomes the last thing on your list. Before you know it, you're not doing it anymore. So there we have it. They are the 5 tips that I recommend for you to overcome this mental chatter and quieten your mind. It would be massively beneficial if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm putting videos out like this every week now, so please do keep eyes on. Also, in the description, I've put a link to 3 books that I recommend for people on a spiritual path who are looking for inspiration, motivation, knowledge. These are 3 really good books that I have read and really enjoyed and think that you might get a lot out of if you are on this kind of path. So I'll tag them down in the description. I'll also put links to some meditation tools that might be of use to you. I personally use a meditation stool, a meditation cushion or a zafu, and also a meditation mat. I normally alternate between the stool and the cushion just to give my hips a bit of a break. So if you're looking for anything like that, I'll put them in the description. Feel free to check them out and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much.